said, by the power of Grayskull.
Hello, this is just a quick review for Star Wars Outlaws on the PS5. There's a free demo on the PlayStation Store at the moment. If you download the demo, that's what this is. You get about 5 hours of gameplay, so it gives you plenty of time to do a couple of missions and have a look around and explore and stuff. So it's worth downloading. I don't know, I think my first impressions of this is that I'll go with the positives. The positives are that you do feel like you're in a open world and you do feel like you're in a Star Wars game. I know most games are hard to recreate the Star Wars feel, but you do get the sense that you're in like a Star Wars universe. You see all the familiar places. You go to Mos Eisley and places like that, and you can go inside the canteen, and you know it's all very familiar and it's very fleshed out as well. When I first went to Mos Eisley, I thought it'd be tiny, you know, just a few buildings and like not much there, but it's absolutely massive place to explore. There's loads of vendors and shops. There's loads of like things to do in the town. It's not just do the current quest or objective. But like I said, can you see at the top you've got your compass? The yellow one is obviously your main objective, but as you turn the compass you might see like a question mark or something like that, and it's always worth just heading over to the question mark and having a look around. You see like that gang there is the Hutts. You can tell because the subtitle says in Huttese, so you know they're talking Huttese. So when it comes to the fighting, I've noticed that I've got it on normal difficulty, right? So it's not on easy, it's on one up from story mode. And I found like the guys you're trying to shoot take about 12 shots to die, which is annoying because you're shooting them like fuck and they won't die. You know, they would have died ages ago. So I think the way the difficulty is held on this game, it just means that the enemies take more shots to kill. That's simply what makes it more difficult. If you put it on story mode, because I tried it on story after this, and they take about 4 or 5 shots to die instead of 12. So you're better off just playing on story mode, and then it makes it more realistic. Because if you were playing, like obviously, if you were shooting somebody with a laser gun, they'd take 1 shot and then they'd die. So you don't want to be like blasting them forever, because it just takes away the realism of using a laser weapon, you know. I don't know, that's just a little nitpick. That kind of thing pisses me off because it's supposed to be a deadly weapon and that you're just unloading on this guy and he's still shooting back. It just doesn't make sense. You can call your scooter to come over. You just tap right on the directions and it'll, like, you know, it's like your horse on Red Dead, you'll whistle and it'll come. But you've got to remember, if you whistle for your scooter and then you run towards it, it'll drive past you and it'll go to where you whistled. So if you're going to whistle for it, just stand still and it'll come to you, because if not you'll have to whistle it again to come back to your position. It goes to where you first whistled, which is annoying. You know, it's like, again, it's like little things like that piss me off. But like I said, there's plenty of exploration. You've got a lot of interiors you do actually get a chance to explore. I think later on you'll get better skills to get into doors that are locked. You can lockpick the door, and it's quite difficult. You've got to hit, like, you'll listen to the rhythm and it might go click, 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 and then you've got to press R2, like R2, 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 and match the click sequence, whatever it is, and that's how you lockpick doors. You can break into the coded doors, and it gives you an option, like, do you want to have it numbers or random hieroglyphs? And then you've got like a puzzle and it's showing you like which symbols are linked together, and you've got to, and it'll tell you which one's in the right sequence. Like if it's orange, it's in the right place, it's just not in the right order. and if it's green, then it's in the right order and it's in the right place. And if it's red, that means it's not in the right place. So you can just trial and error, swap the tiles around until they're all green. But it's quite complicated until you get used to it. And like I said, you've got the option to change the hieroglyphs into numbers, and that makes it slightly easier to understand. But most things, like I said, it's not really bringing anything new to the table, but you'll come to a door like this, and then you have to like try and activate the power, and then you can come back and you get back through that door. Once you've activated the power, you find the generator. What you can do is hold L1, and it like highlights anything you can interact with. So you can see where the power cables are going, and you can like follow them and find out where it goes, so you know where to turn the electric on, that kind of thing. So it's not like that hard, but it is one of those games where if you die, then you'll go back to the last checkpoint, which sometimes is miles away from when you last played. There was one cave I was going through, I think the footage is on here, and you take ages, because like I said, I've got it on normal, so each enemy takes ages to kill. I mean, they take about 12 shots to kill. So I cleared out the cave, took us a while, and then I was jumping from a ledge to another ledge to collect something. I collected it and I tried to jump back when I didn't realise you just stay on that side and you can get through. And I died, and then it spawns you back to the beginning of the cave before I had even went in. So anything I had collected, anything I had found, I had to do it all again, which is so annoying. I mean, like I said, you could spend 45 minutes, die, and then you've got to do it all again, which is bad. They should have more intermittent checkpoints so you don't have to like redo things, because it stops you from wanting to take any risks, because you think, I'm not going to jump across in case I die, I'm not going to go there in case I die, and it stops you from exploring a bit. If you just died and then respawned where you fell off, then you wouldn't mind exploring about. But like I said, once you die, you've got to go right back to your last checkpoint, so it makes you more wary. And like I said, this is Mos Eisley. I was talking about before how it's nice, fleshed out city. It's absolutely huge when you're running around it. There is things to interact with. I mean, you can talk to people. You can, like I said before, you can go to vendors and stuff. There's little things to find and pick up. You can listen in on conversations, which will then, like, maybe give you a hint about a treasure or something nearby. Like I said, the stormtroopers, so you do feel you're in like the Star Wars universe, sorta. But if it wasn't for the level design, you know, like with it being so like the original Star Wars, Mos Eisley, then you wouldn't really realise. If it was just a standalone sci-fi game, you know, it would be average, I think. But because it's Star Wars, in the Star Wars universe, it adds extra gravitas to the game, so it makes it better, you know. But I enjoy it, you know what I mean? I like playing it. I've still got about an hour and a half left on the demo, because you can save it by pressing the menu, and then you can turn it off, put it back on the next day, and it'll just continue from where you left off, and the timer's still running. So like I said, it's only about 5 hours long, this demo, so you don't want to spend too much time, you know, like wasting time basically. If you're going to play the game, just crack on with the objectives and you'll get to see more of the game that way. Or you can just do what I'm doing here and fuck around and waste your 5 hours. But it's just nice to have time to explore. I hate those demos where you'll get to a certain point in the story and then it just ends. This, once you get to that point, it says you've still got like 2 hours left on your demo. You can still continue and have a look around. There you notice Nix, my little monster companion. You can use him to like do things for you. He can like fetch a gun if it's on the floor. He can distract the guards. He can cause explosions and detonations and stuff. So I don't know. It's like I said, they're not really bringing anything new to the table. There's little mini games like this. This is the only one I found, but I'm sure there'll be more. You just press L2 and R2 to change lanes, and it's like a little arcade game, set the high score. But just nice little touches like this make it feel like you're in a living universe. You can talk to most people, you know, like just daft conversations. You don't really interact with them unless it gives you like an R3 prompt. But most people have got something to do. They're not just walking around. Like I said, if you pick up a weapon like this, you can only use it until the ammo runs out and then you drop it, obviously. Or if you try and like climb up a ledge or climb up a ladder, then she'll drop the weapon and there's no way of taking that weapon to you. So maybe you've got a nice weapon and you're making your way through to the next part of the cave. You have to climb up a ledge, then you'll drop that weapon and there's no way of taking it forward, which is a bit shit because you do get bored of using your sidearm all the time. Like your blaster, yes, it's got like an ion shot, it's got a stun shot, you've got upgradable things, get like rapid fire and stuff like that, cooldown times reduced and stuff, or automatic cooldown and stuff like that. But you do get sick of using the blaster all the time when there's so many other guns that you can pick up, which are better, more powerful. But I think it's just because I'm at the beginning of the game. Once you've upgraded your blaster, then you'll probably end up just using that all the time. But again, it's a shame that you don't get a chance to just pick up like a E11 blaster or something that you've picked up off somebody else, like a stormtrooper, and then take that to the workbench, add the ion shot, add things that you need if you needed to, change the skin, change it would be better if you had more customization options for your weapons. You can change the color of your ship and the color of your speeder, stuff like that. You can do different cosmetics, but again, it's not the same. It's not the same as being able to just pick up any weapon. Like say I found this or bought this sniper rifle, I should be able to just keep it for my entirety of the game. I don't see why I have to get rid of it and use that shitty blaster. But it's early days, so the blaster's probably not upgraded to its full potential. But like I was talking about before, how you die, I jumped across to collect something, and then I tried jumping back and I died, and you have to go right back to the beginning before you've even entered the cave, which is a bummer. It's a bad way to have the game. But these are just little niggly things. It doesn't really matter. Once you've realised, then you just don't take any risks. You don't try and explore as much because you think if I die, that's it, got to start again. But if you like the look of it, you may as well go and download it if you haven't played it yet, because it's free and you get a good 5 hours to play it. So go and get it while it's still there. That's it really. See you later.